Congratulations to the class of 2020. My name is Scott Rosberg. As a teacher and a coach for the last 30 plus years, I've seen my share of graduations, and I've heard my share of commencement speeches. Some have been okay, some have been downright outstanding. But no matter what the speech was like, here was one real key. There was one until this year. Now, I applaud all of your schools that are trying to do something to bring a sense of normalcy into your graduation. Many of you are having virtual graduations. And again, I applaud your schools for doing that. I don't know how many of you will be receiving and hearing a commencement address, though. You know, this commencement address is usually given by either a teacher, a graduate, maybe somebody else was brought in to speak. And it was meant to give you some words of wisdom to then send you on your way into the world. While I'm a little bit bummed out that many of you might not be receiving that this year. And again, for those of you who are, because your schools tried to provide that for you, I applaud your schools for doing that. But for those of you who aren't, it's kind of sad to me. As I said, I've been in many graduations, and one of the best parts of them, I always felt, was that speech. The more I thought about this, I thought, this isn't right for you to not have a graduation address. You deserve to have a graduation, and you deserve at the very least to have some address to send you off into the next phase of your lives. Now you might be wondering, who the heck is this guy? You know, who does he think he is to give us some kind of a commencement address? He doesn't know me. He doesn't know my school. He knows nothing about our community. It's true. You are right. I don't know those things, but I do know that you got shafted this year. And through no fault of your school and no fault of yours. It's just the way it is. You're not going to have a proper graduation ceremony like every other graduate has ever had. It just didn't seem right to me. And I thought I need to do something about it. So I put on a shirt and tie for the first time in months, maybe years, set up a virtual Zoom background, and wrote a speech. Now understand, I know I could never accomplish in this setting what a speaker at an actual physical graduation would have been able to accomplish. But I wanted to give you a little taste of it and maybe help you understand that, you know, people remembered what you did over the course of your time in school and wanted to offer you some kind of positive message on this momentous occasion in your lives. See, last week, I was listening to an audiobook while I was out on a walk. By the way, those are two things that I highly recommend that you take with you into your lives: reading and exercise. But I digress. In this audiobook that I was listening to, the narrator was reading a section in which the author was saying how he had received a letter from a gentleman who had heard the author speak at that young man's graduation from college some 30 years before. And he said that the person in the letter said to him how powerful the message was. In fact, it was so powerful, so inspirational, and so motivational to this young man that it changed the course of this graduate's life in such a way that it led him to a level of success he'd never dreamed of. And it also led him to a level of positive impact on the rest of the world that many of us could only hope to aspire to. I thought, how many graduates get to hear that kind of message every year? That's outstanding. And then I thought, how many won't this year because of the coronavirus pandemic shutting down graduations all around the world? While pondering that and how sad that idea was, I came up with this solution. I'll give a commencement address of my own and hopefully provide you maybe a little motivation to some of what I'm talking about here. Now, it would be foolish of me to think that, you know, everyone who hears my message is going to be impacted by it. As a teacher and a coach for over 30 years, I'm well aware that not all of my kids drank the Kool-Aid that I was offering to them whenever I spoke. But I am also aware that many of them did. I've had many of my former students and athletes tell me that I'd had a positive impact on their lives. And it's one of my favorite things about that profession that I have been in for so long. The relationships with my students and the fact that I may have had some minor impact in some small way in their lives. And so while I know not all of you will be impacted or affected by the words that I'm going to speak here today, some of you may be. And if I can help just one of you, then I'll feel like this was not in vain. So I'm going to offer you 3 ideas as you step out into the world. The first, don't let the last 12 or 16, 18, whatever number of years it's been that you've been in school, don't let them go to waste. You've been on a trajectory of knowledge and learning that millions of others have been on before you, and that we're on with you right now, and that will be on after you. And yet yours, it is a unique trajectory. No one else will be on the same path as you will be on. And there'll be many who you can learn from who've been down similar paths as the one that you're going to head down, but you're the only one headed down your path. What you do with this journey, where you go, what you learn, who you choose to go with, who you choose to learn from, how you decide to go there, where, all of that, that's going to be unique to you alone and the experience that you go through. Make the absolute most out of all of it. And don't ever live a day where at the end of it you look back and go, well, that was a waste. Make every day your own masterpiece in every way you can. Second, no matter what business you get into, keep in mind that it is a relationship business. That's right. It's all about people. You're going to meet, you're going to work with, help, be helped by, impact, be impacted by, love and be loved by countless people in your lives. Everything you do will have some human component to it. Make the absolute most out of all of those relationships. But keep in mind one very important lesson that another motivational speaker named Jim Rohn said. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And while there may be some argument as to whether it should be 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever, there's no argument over its point. Who you hang out with has a huge impact on who you become. Choose wisely when it comes to your friends, business associates, life partners, soulmates, and every other relationship you enter into. Because those people can have a major impact on your life. You might not even realize it when it's happening. But also, keep this in mind. You are one of somebody else's 5. How are you impacting them? What are you doing yourself that makes them think, I am so glad she, or I am so glad he is in my circle of influence? You receive a lot of great gifts from the people in your life. But the greatest gifts you'll ever receive will come in the form of the greatest gifts you give to those people. So give them your best. And third, you've been dealt a raw deal here. Absolutely. This is not a good situation that you don't get to go through a graduation ceremony, have the graduation party, all that goes with those things. I get that. I feel for you. As I said earlier, when I had this idea to do this speech, I was thinking about how you wouldn't be able to hear this positive kind of message that so many graduation speeches provide. I thought of all the years for this to happen, of all the years where graduates are not going to get a positive, uplifting, inspirational talk, this is the year when they need it the most. We are in the midst of one of the worst things to ever hit our world. How are our graduates going to view it? How are they going to deal with it? How are they going to respond to it, grow from it, and then change the world because of it? This is the message we must all take with us into the future. It's time for all of us, all of you, to be asking big questions about where we're headed. It's time for all of us to strive to truly make a difference in the world. It's my time and it's your time. Now, I know in all the years past, at these types of graduation speeches and commencements, speakers would say that same kind of thing. Are you going to make a difference in the world? And how are you going to do that? And it was always a good message to hear. But somehow, compared to right now in this time, they almost seem trite. But this year, my gosh, this year there couldn't be a bigger message than that one. What are we going to do to make a difference in the world right now? Because the world needs us right now more than ever. The world needs us to have the right answers to those kinds of questions. The world needs messages of hope and joy and love and opportunity now more than ever. The world needs all of that from all of us, including you, the graduates of 2020. What we do with it, though, that'll speak volumes about who we are as individuals and who we are as a people. It's going to also speak to future generations as to where we chose to go in our lives when we were faced with this as our reality. Yeah, this year you don't get to hear a commencement address at your own physical graduation, and I'm trying to offer one to you as a substitute of sorts, something to help you know that you do matter, and that people didn't forget all that you've put into the last however many years you've been in school. But here's an idea for you. While I'm trying to give you this little message as a commencement speech, I got a better alternative. Write your own. Yeah, write your own commencement speech. Write your own graduation speech and then deliver it first to yourself. Why not? And then consider delivering it to the world. I mean, there couldn't be a better graduation speech for you to hear than the one that comes out of your own lips, out of your own mind, and out of your own heart. Ultimately, everyone who's ever graduated has had this same opportunity. They've heard graduation speeches from others, sure, but they could have written their own. I'm sure that few, if any, ever did. I know I didn't. I imagine, though, that if somebody did, those people who did write their own graduation speeches, I'm willing to bet that they're the kind of people that took the concept that they wrote about and spoke about and then worked to make the most of it for the rest of their lives. Those would be the people who have changed the world. Well, now it's your turn. It's your opportunity to write your own commencement speech and then create the world that you want to live in. You're graduating in a totally different world than any other time before you. You have before you a great opportunity to decide where you want to go, what you want to do, and what message you want to give, both to yourself and to others. What message are you taking into the world? What message are you going to let be your guide for the rest of your life? Is it a message worth spreading to others? There's hundreds, maybe even thousands of messages that you can take into the world on this next phase of your journey. It's up to you, though, to create the one that makes the most impact, brings the most joy, and helps the most people, and then make the most of your life and what you will offer it to the world. You're about to embark on a journey unlike any other journey that any other graduate has gone through before you. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Who will you impact? And how will you make the world a better place than when you leave it than when you started on this journey? Give everything you have to the journey, and the journey will reward you with everything you ask of it. You are the class of 2020. At the start of this year, I wrote a post on my coaching blog, and I called it 2020 Vision. It was about how 2020 vision is understood and considered to be perfect vision. And so I wrote about how people can try to make the year 2020 the best it can be by creating the perfect vision for it. And then that could lead them to what they wanted to achieve. I'm sure nobody had a global pandemic, though, as part of their 2020 vision. Nobody saw this thing coming, and nobody would have wished for it and hoped for anything like it to ever happen. But we can all do things from here on out and move forward and make 2020 become less about the year of the deadly pandemic and more about the year of how we all came together and made the world a better place in the face of one of the most difficult moments in the history of this planet. It's up to you to start on your journey now, to overcome the difficulties of our circumstances and make the most of them by moving forward on your journey with purpose, with passion, and with perseverance to be your best when your best is needed. This is your time to show the world that the class of 2020 overcame the greatest obstacles and contributed more than any other class in the history of the world. It's time to start working towards your perfect 2020 vision. Make the most of your journey that you're about to embark on. Our future selves thank all of you for your inspiration to all of us. Thank you.